Well, good morning, brothers and sisters. Let's begin our worship this morning with some singing. First song is number 498. Where He leads, I'll follow. Do, mi, sol, do. Sweet are the promises, kind is the word, dearer far than any message man ever heard. Pure was the mind of Christ, sinless I see. He the great example is and pattern for me. Where He leads, I'll follow, follow all the way. Where He leads, I'll follow, follow Jesus every day. Sweet is the tender love Jesus has shown, sweeter far than any love that mortals have known. Kind to the erring one, faithful is He. He the great example is and pattern for me. Where He leads, I'll follow, follow all the way. Where He leads, I'll follow, follow Jesus every day. List to His loving words, come unto me. Weary, heavy laden, there is sweet rest for thee. Trust in His promises, faithful and sure. Lean upon the Savior, and thy soul is secure. Where He leads, I'll follow, follow all the way. Where He leads, I'll follow, follow Jesus every day. Our next song is song number 332, I Surrender All. If you would like to, you can please stand for this song. Do, mi. All to Jesus I surrender, all to Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him in His presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all. All to Thee, my blessed Savior, I surrender all. All to Jesus I surrender, humbly at His feet I bow. Worldly pleasures all forsaken, take me, Jesus, take me now. I surrender all. blessed Savior, I surrender all. All to Jesus I surrender, Lord, I give myself to Thee. Fill me with Thy love and power, let Thy blessings fall on me. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior, I surrender all. Be seated, please.
Is that my cue? Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to be here. Aren't you excited to be a Christian? Aren't you excited to be here today? Oh, I tell you, there's so many young people here. You know, last time I was here, a lot of you weren't even born. A lot of you weren't even thought about. But it's so good to have you. I tell you, I told my wife when I was here in 2009 and went back home that the one thing that really impressed me about the Cedar Park congregation is the young people, because I was blown away because I'd never had this happen to me anywhere before, and I don't think I had a chance when I was here in 2009 to let you know about that, how impressed I was about it, that I'd be standing back there after a sermon, and people come up and say their natural greetings and all that kind of stuff, but what was impressive is the young people would come up in a single file, and they were shaking my hand and say, "It's good to have you here together today, sir." I thought I was going to have to go home and change my name to Sir, because everybody's calling me Sir. And it's like, really, is this really happening? Did they pay these kids to say this when they're coming out like that? But it was impressive. Everybody was dressed modestly. Everybody was so polite. And that's a reflection directly upon the parents and the teachers in the classrooms. And I tell you, sometimes you don't really know the effects that you have as a young person on others. But when you show that, it's noticed. People notice that. And I tell you, I noticed that. And I said, I don't know how the congregation is today. It's going to be interesting. But already what I'm seeing when I'm looking around is, again, a lot of smiling faces from young people. I understand there's people here from Florida College that's here, so you're welcome. It's good to have you here. But I want to take some time this morning when they said this is the new layout of things that are happening now with this short period of time, and then there's going to be a Bible class afterward, and then the worship service, that this would be the perfect opportunity to share with you a little bit about the work in Fort Collins, Colorado. Because a lot of churches, and I have 12 different congregations that help me in my support and being able to be the evangelist there in Fort Collins. And I really am so thankful for all the congregations that support me. Cedar Park has supported me since at least 2011, and with different amounts of support over the years. Right now, you're the top supporting congregation that supports me the most of any congregation, and I am so thankful for that. So I'm going to try to say very nice and good things, because I'd like to keep that support. But I appreciate all of you, that the demonstration that you have for God, not only in the local area, in promoting the gospel of Christ, but also in various other places. Whether you're supporting financially or prayerfully, that is so welcome, and I appreciate it so much. We're small in number. I'm going to go through a few slides here this morning to give you like an overview of the work in Fort Collins. We started the work there in 2012, and before that happened, my family and I and one other individual started to work in Montrose, Colorado. Some of you remember when I was working in Montrose, Colorado. And that one, we just got off the ground. There was no congregation on the western slope, so we went in and did that. So we got up to 24 individuals in about a 5-year period, 4.5 years, something like that. But I knew the handwriting was on the wall, so to speak. I had a son, I had a daughter coming up. There was no potential in that area for them to have schools to attend, jobs for employment and stuff like that, even possibly looking for a spouse down the road. And so I knew that I had to go somewhere where there was a little bit more population, but also in a populated area which didn't have a strong conservative type of congregation. Well, we knew this couple, Ken and Cheryl Tope, and some of these names may pop out at you if you read the reports that I send every month. If you see some of these names, I try to keep you informed on what's happening with the members, and sometimes it's challenging what to write every month, because when you're writing these reports every month, sometimes preachers will know there's not just a lot that happened that particular month. So I don't try to ad-lib and do things like that. I try to just really give you what's really happening. But Ken and Cheryl Tope, I'd known them since 1990, and they were driving to Denver one way about 55 miles to services every Sunday and Wednesday night and stuff. And that's a long ways for the two of them to go. And they're about my age. And so I went over there and visited with them and said, you know, there's not a sound congregation in this area, and you're driving to Denver all the time. And I need to get someplace to take my family. Says, would you be interested in starting a work in at the time it was the Loveland, Colorado area? And they said, really? Yeah, we'd love to do that. So we worked things out, and about 6 months later, in May of May of that year, we started actually going there. But in February, we started it on a part-time basis. But we went there, and they helped us with the work. Ken and Cheryl and our family of 5 of us. And so it was like that for about a year and a half to 2 years. It was only 7 of us meeting together. But in the course of time, we got some more members. We had some Bible studies. We converted some people. Some people have come. They've moved away. And, you know, that happens in all kinds of congregations. But it really hurts smaller works when you have a couple of people, or 3 or 4 people. We had a family of 4, 2 young boys and a husband and wife. And then he had to relocate with his job. And that was a big blow to us at the time. But I was figuring it up. If we had all the people since 2012 that was there in the Loveland, Fort Collins area to this day that didn't have to move away, we would have about 35 people in the congregation right now. And it'd probably grow more, because actually the more you start getting and you get more young people, the more that just seems to spread out like that, because they can tell their friends and stuff. But when you're small, it's just getting that kick to get things really going. And so obviously when we have visitors, we love having visitors. It's in a great area. It's not very far from Cheyenne, Wyoming, about 40 miles from Cheyenne, and then 40 miles from Denver area. But here's our address. It's on the board here in front of you, as you can see there. Just a little backdrop on the history. We started in Loveland, and about February to May, in that time frame, we were working things out of 2012. And then our landlord raised the rent on us. He was doing pretty good. It didn't go up very much until 2018. All of a sudden, he wanted to just raise it $300 a month. Well, for us, that was just way too much. Couldn't do that. And so we told him we're going to have to relocate. Our backs were against the wall because our lease was coming up. We had to find some place. We really didn't want to go to Fort Collins, per se. We wanted to stay in the Loveland area, but we didn't have a choice. We got a great deal on a place to be in Fort Collins, but it wasn't in a very good part of town. And so it is a very small location, but the rent was good, less than what we were paying. And so we went ahead and moved. And then a year later, we found the place that we're currently in. I'll show you some pictures of that. Actually, the place we're in now in Fort Collins is better than the place that we were at in Loveland. A few of you, like Gary and Sherry, that's here this morning, you've been to our congregation in Loveland when we were there. We were pleased with that. It was a very nice, clean meeting facility. But the place that we have in Fort Collins now is, I think, much better. We have actually a men's and a women's restroom. We have another area for Bible classes there, another room. It's a little bit bigger area for the auditorium, the way we have the chairs set up. So it's a really nice, clean, conducive environment for worshiping God. And it's welcoming when visitors come in there to be able to feel engaged and to be able to worship God in a good way. So we're pleased with that we got that in 2019, February 2019. We moved into that facility, and we've been there since. And a landlady that takes care of that property in that area, she's outstanding. She's worked with us. She don't even make us sign a lease. She says, you guys just stay as long as you want. I'm not going to raise this rent on you. And it's less than we were paying in Loveland, not less than Loveland. And it's allowed me to be able to get some support personally from our local congregation because we don't have to have such a high lease or anything. And so that's good. If we get some more members, I'm just hoping, my prayer is that in time, we can take up more of my support and relieve congregations from having to do that. Ultimately, that's what we want to do, but it's just taking a lot of time. But I am thankful that you do what you can do for me and my family and the work that's going on there in Fort Collins, Colorado. So, another thing ironic about that, the landlord that wanted to raise the rent in Loveland, we would drive by that building periodically going to different places, and it was always vacant. Always vacant. And what was good about it is on Sundays, they had other businesses in that area. There was a strip mall. But on Sundays, we were the only ones there. And so we had all this parking that we could use. And two factors hit him. 2 years later, almost 2 years, he called and says, would you consider coming back here and I'll give you a really good rate on this facility? I said, you had an opportunity to give us a good rate, but we can't do it now. We got a great place. We're really thankful where we're at now. So a nail salon or something like that ended up going in there. But the problem was they're open on every day during the week. Well, the parking was terrible during the week, and it was ideal for someone that had that facility on a Sunday because we had the parking. Now, he doesn't know what to do because people can't come to the businesses and park. So, sometimes money isn't everything. It's who you have in there and doing the things that they do. So, but anyway, we wished him well, and we're happy where we're at. We usually have around our attendance at Blue Valley Church of Christ is 14 individuals on a regular basis. That's how many members we have. And you'll see on the board here that around November to April timeframe, the winter months basically, we'll have one or two visitors. Some Sundays we don't have any visitors. But then, starting in May through October, and it's not really close to the ski areas, but it is a great stop-off location if you're going to Wyoming, and I'm going on up to Yellowstone National Park and Rocky Mountain National Park. We're only about 55, 60 miles from Rocky Mountain National Park, Estes Park, and all of that in there. So we do get visitors, a lot of them traveling on vacations and stuff like that. We even get some local visitors occasionally from where we're at now. So we'll have about 19 as our average on most Sundays during this particular time of the year. And again, on the right side, you'll see where the congregation began on February 19th, and it was in Loveland and then now in Fort Collins, Colorado. Now, I'll go through a few other slides here to show you. The meeting facility that we're in now is this building. It's a brick building. There's 3 brick buildings in a row. When you turn onto Harvard from College Avenue, which is the main one, 287, that runs from Fort Collins all the way up to Loveland. The building we had in Loveland before was just off of 287, right off the same road, but it was in Loveland. But if you go 16 more miles north, you come to this facility where we're meeting at now. The door at the top up there, as you see on the screen, that's where the landlord is. She has her offices and stuff in there. We're directly underneath. You'll see that little white sign almost at level with the parking lot going back there. We're downstairs. There's about 6 stairs you go down. You go into this facility, and open the door. That's our meeting facility. Well, what's nice about this, too, is it's handicapped accessible. So on the back of that, on the other side, the end of the building there where we're at, because we've got an in unit, people can park behind the building, and there's a door that opens up just to the right side where the auditorium pulpit is. To the right side, there's we call it actually it's a storage room, but it's also made up to where we can have a classroom in there also. And so people can, that door opens up and it's real wide, and people with wheelchairs or walkers and stuff can come in right around the corner, right in front of basically right in the front, and go to a seat and sit down. There's no stairs they have to go down, nothing at all. So anybody that's handicapped can get in there. They can just park right there by that back door and come right in. So that's really nice. We have 3 exits from the building. One down the hallway where the restrooms are is an exit also. So we have, for security reasons and things, it's a lot better to manage and stuff in that particular building. So we like that a lot. And we got tons of parking, so much parking. If we could fill up that parking place, well, then we wouldn't be in that facility, because we'd have to be looking for a much bigger place to meet. But nobody else meets on a Sunday. There's a lot of business. That front office, the first building on the right side there, that's a doctor's office. And down the steps to the left of where we are is a medical massage place. It's kind of like for medical people that needs treatments and things. So the people that are in that facility, she only wants people that are more professional, that kind of thing. So she would never rent it to like tattoo parlors and liquor stores and stuff like that. That's not going to ever be an issue there. She wants people that's going to, that's good people in that whole area there. She doesn't want it to get run down or anything like that. So moving on, this is the inside of the facility where we're attending now. The chairs are set up a little different today than they were in this picture because of COVID. What we did to get our social distancing and things like that, we kind of split it right down the middle. Now we have a middle aisle and the chairs are more on the sides. And we reduced it to, now there's 32 chairs in there. Before it's set up for 42. We can actually seat about 50 people in there really comfortably. But we can put more chairs out if we need to. Now that COVID, for the most part, is over, I think we're always going to catch some kind of variant. I mean, they can have variants until I'm 100 or something like that. Yes, but you just got to live and do the best you can and things. So we'll probably soon go back to this particular arrangement because we liked it like that. So as you can see frontwards, to the left, you'll see that door there. That's the door that goes to the outside where the people can come in that are handicapped, that can have access to the facility. And I'm looking to my left. I could look over here too. You can see the same thing over here. I'm not used to, most congregations where I go, it's just, there's one screen usually right there in the middle. But I have to remember there's 2, one on each side. And so we use a 55-inch television screen, which is good for the size of auditorium that we have to show the PowerPoint charts and all the class material and things like that we do in the facility. Now, this is a shot of looking from the pulpit out to the congregation, the seating that's there. We're really high-tech there at Fort Collins because we use 2 songbooks. Not just one. We have sacred selections for the church and hymns for worship. So that they're on all the chairs, have 2 songbooks. So there's no place to put them. So people come in, they put the songbooks down on the floor there. But we have to announce which songbook. The song leader gets to choose which one he's singing out of that particular service, and we use that. We haven't got to the high tech yet where we put the songs up on the board yet. I figured, okay, when we grow a little bit bigger and stuff like that, maybe we'll do that. But I do like that because it's so nice you can just stand up or sit where you're sitting and just look at the screen and project, and the sound is really good. So that's good. So in the back of the auditorium, we have our board that has Bible tracts, the bulletins and stuff like that, and the sermons that people can get and things like that. And that door on the left back there is the door goes back to the parking lot that people come in from, that first picture that you saw. This is a picture of the pulpit. It's set up a little bit differently than that now, but it's pretty close to the way it is there. And the way we got this particular pulpit, a man and wife was visiting for a while. They attended in Estes Park, Colorado, and they just started attending for a while. They were from an institutional persuasion, but he noticed I had a little lectern similar to this that I was preaching from, and he did woodworking, and he said, would you be interested in me building you a pulpit? I said, no. No, I said, yes. Yeah, that'd be great. We'd love to have a pulpit. That'd be really nice. He said, well, give me what you want on all the dimensions, and I'll build it for you. So we just had to pay for his materials, and he did that, and about 2 weeks later, he brought it in, and we have a nice pulpit there. It's got shelves in the bottom, a place to put things. So that was just nice of him to do that. There was a congregation in the Denver area that no longer meets, and they gave the members, some of the members went to the Smoky Hill Church of Christ. Some of you may know where that is in the Denver area. And they gave them a big pulpit, but we didn't need one. We had this one now, and it was better for us for the size. But they had a communion table. They had all kinds of class material, class workbooks, and numerous things, whiteboards. And they said, it's at the Smoky Hill Church building. The guy called me, says, if anything you need or want, you just come on over. So I took my trailer, and we just loaded that up with the communion table and the other things. So that's what we have. A lot of that we got from them several years ago. Again, here's a few more pictures looking from the back, walking into from the normal entrance of the facility, looking at towards the front there. The door on the very front, again, is the utility room. The baptistry's in there also. That's another thing we got. They gave us a portable baptistry, the kind where you can fill it up with water, and the preacher or whoever's doing the baptism stands behind it, and they can sit down and you can immerse them. So we've had some baptisms in that. But it's in the room, so when we have a baptism, we just go into that room, gather around, and we can watch the baptism take place. So we have that there. So when you walk in, some people may say, well, they don't even have a baptistry here. Are they going to a different direction or something like that? No, we do believe in immersion for this forgiveness of sins. So that's what's in that room. The first door that you see on the left there is a really nice, probably a 12 by 14 classroom, and it's all decorated and everything. And we don't have any children, the school-age children right now, for the members that we have. So sometimes the Tope's grandchildren attend, probably 1 or 2 Sundays a month. And when that happens, Cheryl is prepared with Bible class material. My daughter, they have different months that they have assignments on when to teach, so they have the material already assigned. So if a visitor walks in that has some younger children, we have ladies that's already prepared and ready for them all the time, every single Sunday. So they just take them in the classroom and do a Bible class with them. So we hope to have some that's, there on a regular, permanent basis. Okay, so let's look at the family. I wanted to put this family up there first because this one will scare you, and then after that, it's okay after that. So this is my family. Of course, my wife is on the right of me there, and then the young lady on the left of me is Kristen. Kristen is, I guess I can tell her age now because, see, she's not here, so that's okay. So if you ever come across Kristen or something, just don't tell her you found out how old she is. But she's 37 years old, and she has her own apartment now. And then next to her is Kalina, our youngest. Kalina will be 23 years old in October. And then next to her is Caleb, who is 25 now. Caleb works for an accounting firm in town. He just finished his degree at Colorado State University and his master's degree in accounting, and so he got a very good job at an accounting firm in Fort Collins. And Kalina has finished junior college, and she is now been enrolled in Colorado Christian University to get her teaching degree, so she's going to get that. But she only wants to teach in a private school setting. That's the kind of thing that she's interested in, where there seems to be a little bit more control over the children and things like that. And then Caleb's hair, if you'll see that picture, is longer than he's ever grown in his life. He called it his COVID haircut because he didn't want to go anywhere to get his hair cut with anybody because, everybody had cooties, and so they didn't want to get that. So after that, he's back to normal now. He's just got regular, shorter hair and stuff like that. But just wanted to point, that's the one picture he ever took, I think, with all of us standing there together, that he had the long hair, other than when he graduated or had his somewhat in-house graduating, because his graduation in 2020 got canceled. His graduation in 2021 got canceled. So even though he got his degree and his master's, he didn't get to go through any of the festivities because of the COVID. They locked everything down. So that's our family. This is Ken and Cheryl Tope, who helped to start the congregation in 2012. Very active members. They are so kind, so sweet, some of the best Christians you could ever meet. We're so glad to have them. Ken is a very good song leader, so we were fortunate when we started. We had a preacher and we had a song leader. I mean, what more could you ask for? And then we had some ladies that could teach Bible class, so we were in good shape. Mitchell Potter, you'll hear about him in some of the reports that we do door knocking and canvassing and things like that together from time to time. He's 85 years old, by the way, and he doesn't act it and doesn't look like it. We have Joel and Vicki Reed. Mitchell and Joel and Vicki, on a Sunday in November in 2018, they just happened to drive up to the church building, and neither one knew the other one. They just came the same Sunday, and they were visiting, and both of them placed their membership there about 3 weeks later. So we're looking for that Sunday again to take place, where a couple of families will just come driving up and says, we want to be members of this congregation. That would be great. So there's Joel and Vicki Reed. Skeeter Schultz. There's Skeeter Schultz, and I'll show you the next picture. This is his brother Kurt. Kurt and Skeeter are brothers of Cheryl Tope. So they were in Arizona. They attended the congregation somewhere in the Phoenix area. They both retired from their jobs. Neither one of them have ever been married. And so they retired from their jobs. They wanted to come to Colorado and to be closer to Ken and Cheryl. So they came, and they're active members of our congregation. Skeeter does a great job leading singing, too. He is a really good song leader. And my son has become actually a very good song leader. For a long time, he wouldn't want to do it because his voice was changing. But now he's doing a good job. So we're blessed with 3 song leaders that do it all the time. So that's good. So that's Kurt. And then we have Percy and Betty Wilson. They came to us from Pennsylvania, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. A conservative work there that they attended. His son is also a gospel preacher, Percy Wilson Jr. And so we're glad to have them. I think Percy is about 87, and Betty is 79. She's got diabetes, and she has to have a monitor to check her blood sugar and stuff to make sure she's okay. But they're there all the time. They just never miss. He's that. He's always dressed really nice. He participates in Bible class, loves doing all of that. So we're glad to have them. So those are the members that we have right now of the congregation. That's our house in Fort Collins. Actually, it's in Windsor, Colorado is where the house is, but we just got that last year. And then here's a map. And this first map that I wanted to show you is just the whole state of Colorado. And in the whole state of Colorado, there's not very many congregations. When you're out here in Texas, there's a lot of congregations. You can go to gospel meetings and things like that. Well, really the nearest place that we can go to attend a gospel meeting would be in Golden, Colorado, the Denver area, maybe Smoky Hill or the Westside Church in Golden. That's the nearest one that we would have, and sometimes they don't always have meetings, but that's 50, 60 miles one way. And then the next one's you're looking at Colorado Springs, going down there. Well, that's 115 to 120 miles from where we live there to go down there. So we don't have that luxury of attending other congregations, that's conservative congregations in the area. And that's why when you come to our area, we would love to have you. It would be beneficial to us and for you to have a place to worship if you come there at any time. So that's the state of Colorado. Then here, does this work? Yeah, okay. So with the pointer here, here's Fort Collins right here. Okay, this yellow dot is where our house is in relationship to Fort Collins. And then zooming in a little bit more, this map. Okay, so you got Fort Collins here, our house. So we go just straight down Harmony and turn to 287. This is 287 to Fort Collins. Here's Loveland. This is where we were at before, and then Fort Collins. And Fort Collins, where we're at now, we're a mile and a half from Colorado State University. So we even advertise that on our website that we're really close there. If there's any Christians that attend the university, we're right there, and anybody can pick them up or whatever. And then zooming in all the way to where it is, then you have this, where this particular, let's see, right there, this is where the building is, right here, where the red dot is, and then our house is out here. But from our house to the building, it's about 9 miles, 10 miles is all it is. So anyway, that's the little briefing I wanted to give you this morning. I know it's not time to stop now. They're going to have the kids' class and things. But thank you again for supporting me and the work there. And if you have any questions at all about the area, please ask me. You can either email me if you want to, or just ask me following services today. And I'm glad to be here. I'm looking forward to the rest of the morning that I get to spend with you. So